There we go. I've had surprisingly few river views on this riverside hike. I really wouldn't have minded if this hit a few hours later and I could have packed up in the dry, but oh well. So there is no avoiding the rain this morning. It is going to continue for a good chunk of the day. I'm just kind of biding my time though. I'm gonna make a run for it. Tent's already wet, so I don't mind hiking in the rain quite as much, but packing up in the rain is always, a bit of a pain. So you can see the trail marker back there behind me. This was basically the first thing I could find when I popped out of that river last night that didn't have me worried about dead trees. I have no idea what the weather's gonna do, other than it is supposed to rain a good amount today, so I am being opportunistic. The rain came down pretty hard from dark 30 until about 30 minutes ago, and then the wind picked up, so my rain fly wasn't too wet. I did switch into my short sleeve shirt in anticipation of dealing with more rain. I also bagged all my gear because I don't really have much information on this pack I'm testing out, and I don't trust any material. A lot of them will beat up water initially with the DWR layer, and then they soak through after a little while, or after any sort of rubbing gets rid of that layer. This is why rain jackets look really good in marketing material, and really nice the first couple of times you take them out, and then next thing you know, you're dealing with the permeable layers underneath. I will say, as hard as those last 3 or 4 miles were last night, I am glad I got them done before the rain this morning. There were sections that were a little bit narrow, and all the leaves and acorns and everything make them not quite like treacherous, but you got to watch your footing here and there. As near as I can tell, that is now all behind me. This next section, I drop down to a road. I am once again riverside, at least based on the map, and then Reliance is 6 or so miles away. And by Reliance, it's Reliance Fish and Tackle, which is the big resupply stop out here. They have a box for me. They have allegedly a pretty good burger, which I really hope they're making today. And they are open till 5. So I'm going to recharge my battery, eat, triage, and then try and get back on the trail and get a few miles on later this afternoon. They do apparently allow hikers to camp there for a nominal fee. Honestly, other than having access to a bathroom is always nice, and the days when I had a battery bank that took 7 or 8 hours to charge, I don't really see much advantage in staying at a place like that. I mean, if they have showers and everything, okay, that's nice enough, but again, I just don't like tenting in kind of crowded public areas whenever I can avoid it. And usually you just go a couple of miles down the trail and there's some other option. Though I do still remember the first time I did the John Muir Trail, getting to Red's Meadow and leaving right around dark and hiking away. I had like an invitation to sleep on the floor of somebody's cabin, and there's like a restaurant down there. It was quite hard to walk off on my own. I needed that Bruce Banner theme from the old Incredible Hulk TV show. This next section from Reliance down to Blue Ridge is only about a 60-mile carry, so 4 dinners and 5 days of food is my usual kind of conservative estimate. Jen usually sends me a few extra bean bags though, so for example, when I started in the Smokies, I had more dinners than I needed, but it's usually worth the extra weight to not have to go to crappier options I can get on trail. And I've talked to a few other folks coming the opposite direction. They did mention the trail was kind of in rougher shape between here and Blue Ridge, but that it was doable. Most of them also had shorts, so probably lose a little blood, but hopefully I don't regret that too much. One of my projects during the off season is trying to find pants that will both fit me and are a good mix of durability and light material / breathability, which is hard when you're a sweaty guy with big calves like me. Well, theoretically, this storm is part of a cooling trend. As I mentioned yesterday, this section has been noticeably warmer than where I was before. And last night was another, couldn't wear any layers, couldn't get in my sleeping bag, couldn't even have the sleeping bag on me most of the night. The other thing is these leaves were just packed with bugs. Sometime around midnight, I ended up with something stinging me around my left eye. I have no idea what it was. It's not unusual to have spiders and ants and things like that kind of running around inside of the tent off and on. It did hurt like hell though. I don't think it's swollen or anything, but I was in pain for a good 30-40 minutes before I could kind of go back to sleep. I did have a few big wind bursts, mostly this morning that I noticed, but other than branches and the usual acorns and whatnot falling from up high, which granted sometimes hit with a fair amount of force, never got really concerning. I am always cautious because I have been in microbursts and things where it's just like a wall of wind that comes through and things go flying. There's only so much you can do. I mean, honestly, for a chunk of the Mississippi there, after the storm outside of Cape G and that microburst that injured our trail angel and friends, I was highly stressed everywhere because it's all these trees and things and sandy soil, and there's just no way any of it's staying down if it really gets hit. Oh. So I just try and take reasonable precaution, aka I have had to stop students from setting up under a dead tree that was leaning over at like 50 degrees. They're like, oh, but my tent's just perfect. It's all flat. And I'm like, yeah, but you get squashed by a tree. The paperwork is really a pain for those of us leading this trip. Or just try not to stay in areas that have a bunch of dead trees, burn areas, things like that. But as with a lot of things, it is kind of a judgment call at a certain point, and it gets a lot more challenging after dark. It does look way more epic out here when it's overcast and wet. There we go. I've had surprisingly few river views on this riverside hike. Oh, that is pretty. Kind of surprised they didn't just route the trail on the road through here. They actually cut a trail off in the woods, not too far, but enough to get you away from traffic. See, the CDT turned me into too much of a cynic. More so than before, just because I see nice trail and a road, and all I picture is through hiker masses walking the road, complaining about the roadwalks, and ignoring the trail. Some trail organization was nice enough to cut. That's what I get for speaking too soon. Big down tree I couldn't get around, so I had to drop down to the road. At least I get to the river. There are a few fishermen out here this morning. Hopefully that means the grill will be running. There is a bit of a shortcut where I could just walk the road out to Reliance and then take the footpath back down to the river, but then I'd miss some riverfront trail. And it's only a couple of miles. Briefly, I thought maybe I could make it down here to camp last night. Alas, that part after Lost Creek went a little slower, so I took everything I had just to make it as far as I did. This really makes me miss that Mississippi trip. Yukon next summer, hopefully. Oh well, I thought I might escape more rain. Guess I would have if I took the road walk. Most precarious thing out here is actually these bridges. Wood gets notoriously slick when it gets wet. The YouTube comments of this place, other than saying they're just awesome people, mention some sort of a burger. And I have been thinking about that for the last couple of days as I've been eating mountain houses that maybe are objectively terrible. Oh, I hope their grill is open. And yeehaw. Oh, I smell something that could be food. Fortunately, the grill was open and they had my resupply box. Sweet. They actually just had a really nice setup for a trail stop all around. Not the worst timing in the world. Okay, I know I am mostly a town stop overnight sort of guy these days, but that was quite nice. I was pretty much salivating when I came around that corner and could smell the grill. They had some sort of a Hiwazi hamburger that Blondie would not approve of because it had beef and pulled pork, and I think there was like an onion ring on there. It was quite good. I got one so-so picture and then it suddenly disappeared, along with a deli sandwich and a bunch of other stuff. I was able to get my resupply box. I was able to get everything charged. I was able to get a supplemental fuel canister since I'm not sure that mine is going to stretch. Seems to be one of the big stresses I have these days, is exactly how far I can make those mediums stretch. They even had a hot shower there, which was quite lovely, even if I was just going back into dirty clothes. My pack is significantly heavier Not because I need all this food to get me to Blue Ridge, but because if Jen is going to send stuff, I'm going to have her send extra dinners. So I am back to beans, rice, and cheese for the next week or so. It's funny, you know, when I started the PCT in 2020, I had spent a fair amount of time, you know, stressing over gear, minimizing stuff down, getting things to a reasonable size. And then these days I'm like, no, send me like 3 extra bean bags and another bag of coffee. I don't want to have to go into town and I can't find the brands I like. And so I end up huffing a bit more weight, but it's always just training for the next one, right? The other nice thing is there were a few more storm bands that came through, including one that was really hammering that place, and the power went out just briefly. And for once, I actually got to miss that. So I'm feeling like I kind of managed the storms correctly today. Most of the rain came when I was either inside of my tent or sitting inside. So from here, I have 60 some miles until Blue Ridge. I'm anticipating doing that in 3 days and change, but we'll see. Never really know how fast or slow the trail's going to be up ahead. Because again, I was told that this is probably the section most in need of trail maintenance, at least down to the Georgia border. The only thing I was not able to do, unfortunately, was upload episodes. They did actually have Wi-Fi, except I didn't realize that until right at the end. So, oh well. I will probably do a hotel at Blue Ridge, so I can get caught up there. So my current plan to get from the Benton MacKaye to the Foothill Trail hinges on somebody who's going to give me a ride, and also Jen is sending them a package. It looks like they can only do that on the 28th, and if I keep moving at the same pace as I seem to be trending here, it's quite possible I'm going to get to Springer a little early. I'm a little bit torn right now. If it's just a day or two, I'll probably just take a 0 and rest my feet. They are feeling a little beat up at the moment. But the other option is I may just swing north from Springer and do a few days on the AT, kind of similar to what I did at the end of the long trail. You know, round up a couple of days worth of mileage. It is still breezy, though it does feel like the humidity has let up a little and it's cooled off a little bit. Per the weather report, it is going to be getting down into the high 30s at night, which quite frankly, I am very much looking forward to. Last night, I was so warm and it was so humid, I couldn't get under the sleeping bag. I couldn't wear any layers. I was sticking to my sleeping pad. Not the sort of thing I usually anticipate in mid to late October. Oh, Jen would love this. She's always fascinated by abandoned houses. Blame growing up in an area of California where all land is so tightly packed, you don't really have that. Okay, filled up with water for the night. I don't intend to run too late. Okay, it is 6:45. I feel a little wimpy stopping this early, but I'm not really feeling booking it after dark again. So I think this will be it. This is before a paid car camping spot, so not too bad as long as I have it to myself. Home sweet home. Pretty enough little section back here. I think it might have been an old rail bed or something, or an old road. Seemed kind of flat. And it looks like, since comments have been made about blowdowns in the area, that once again the BMT org seems like they are really on top of taking care of this trail. This area feels like the sort of thing Jen would just love, with all the little salamanders and all the little like rock cascades and everything. No real waterfalls, but I think the foothill trail is known for that. So a couple of more weeks. Have to get lots of footage for her on that one. I am happier to have a bit of an easier night after pushing hard the last couple of days. Tomorrow, I'll see. I planned everything out on like 15 to 17 miles a day. Just kind of play it by ear. Today I made over 10 and felt like a freebie. And that included sitting around most of the day, but that's the thing with flat trail. Walking across the plains of Kansas, minus the heat from hell, I made much better mileage. Anyway, home sweet home.